Silver Scream Fest. Give yourselves a round of applause. And we really want to thank Heather Langenkamp for coming all the way up to Santa Rosa to spend some quality time with us. Obviously, Heather is in a very unique position being in this franchise for such a long-running franchise. It's been probably a mixed blessing for you, I would think. But obviously, it's been very much of an influence, so much so that you would want to make a film about your character. So what was the impetus of putting this film together? What was sort of your mission statement when you said, I need to make a documentary about Nightmare on Elm Street?
The actual impetus was I was working at our makeup effects company that we have in Los Angeles, and I'm working with my sister-in-law.
Are the mics switched on? The switch on
This one is?
Yeah. Hello.
Still nothing? Okay.
Maybe we should.
So it's okay. I think people can
Right
hear
now.
us. Hello. Yeah.
There we go.
Okay. So and we were working on Cabin in the Woods, and we were working really hard, and it happened that there was going to be a screening of Nightmare on Elm Street at the Egyptian Theater in Los Angeles, and I really wanted to go. It was a celebration, and I heard from one of my employees that Wes Craven was going to be there, and I thought, oh, I'm going to call Wes and see if we can go together, because I didn't want to go by myself, and then maybe they were showing Nightmare 1 or Nightmare 7, something like that. So I called up Wes's office. Marianne, you better close your ears on this one. So I called up Wes's office, and his assistant answers the phone, and I said, hi, is Wes there? This is Heather Langenkamp. And she's like, oh, no, Wes isn't in. I said, well, may I please leave a message? And she's like, okay, what's your name? And I'm like, Heather Langenkamp. Would you mind spelling that for me? Oh, sure. And then I spelled my name out and, waited for a phone call back, and I forgot it. So I hung up the phone, and I actually, I didn't really think much of it. That thing happens to me all the time. So my sister-in-law, on the other hand, was incredibly offended. She was like, God damn it. You should have told that assistant to turn around and find that poster of Nightmare on Elm Street that I know is behind her. And you need to tell her to look at who is on the bug on the bottom, and you say, that's how you spell Heather Langenkamp. Look at that name. And so she's like, you're Nancy. How can people not know who you are? And I said, it's just not like that. I told my sister-in-law, it's just not like that. It's not about Nancy. It's always about Freddie. And so we would joke about that. And then when we were done with Cabin in the Woods, we had some time off, and she said, Heather, let's make a documentary. Let's go. I had like 4 conventions planned for that summer and fall. And she's like, I'll go with you. We'll find somebody to operate the camera, and we're going to go ask the fans what Nancy means to them. And why is it Freddie Mania and not Nancy Mania? Because she's the heroine. And I said, I love that idea. Let's do it. So we roped in cousins and any relative who had a half-decent camera. We would ask them to come with us on tour. We went to Connecticut. We went to London. We went to Germany. We went to Monster Mania. We went somewhere else, too. I can't remember. So anyway, I brought the little crew. We had 3 people. My sister-in-law, a cameraman, and usually maybe a sound person. Excuse me. And we just started asking the fans these questions, and we would get releases from everybody, and then we would ask them, what does Nancy mean to you? Why do you love Nightmare on Elm Street so much? And it was a really good time in my career to do this, because I was getting really tired of going to these conventions and always feeling like I was playing second fiddle to Robert, always feeling like I'm way over there and Robert's over there and he has this line and it's around the block, and it would just really, frankly depress me some days. At the end of the day, I just was like, why am I here? It just seemed wrong. So when I started asking the fans the question, however, I started really falling in love not only with Nightmare on Elm Street again, but with this character of Nancy, and I saw that for thousands of people. I mean, we came into contact with hundreds of fans, but we realized, and I realized, that it was something that I had taken for granted, and so it really ignited in me this idea idea, and kind of a feminist idea, that, you know, God damn it, I'm going to start standing up for Nancy in a way that I probably never would have done before. And now I do feel like, because I made this movie, it was 5 years ago, I have people asking me to, you know, write on their leg to do a tattoo, or people will tell me that how important Nancy is to them, and they never used to do that before. Never.
What insight from fans really sort of changed your perspective about the whole franchise and about your character?
Well, the first thing I realized is that not my generation, the generation just younger than I am, they were raised on television and VHS in a way that is new. Like the VHS was invented in 1982 or something like that, and Nightmare on Elm Street came out exactly at that moment. So the idea of, like Mikey Rotella says it, we would go to this video store every week. We got to pick out a movie. Up till then, like when I grew up, we only could see movies either at the theater or if they played them on TV, which was like Wizard of Oz every year at Thanksgiving. That was like whenever we got to watch it. So you would have movies of the week and things, but actual theatrically released movies were very hard to see, except if you saw them in the theater. So this was a sea change in how people watched movies, and so people would watch way more movies. And as a result, they became experts in film. They became experts in horror. You could see every horror movie you ever wanted to in the course of a month, you know, where it would have been very difficult to do that before. And when we made Nightmare on Elm Street, there wasn't VHS. I wasn't really able to go and rent Last House on the Left. I couldn't rent any of Wes Craven's movies. I didn't know at all what he had done before. They mentioned the name of the movie, but I had never seen it. So it was very hard to just go and do research on film. So that's the first thing I realized, is that that was a major change in America.
So you wrangled, obviously, some of your fellow thespians and filmmakers. Talking with Wes for this movie, what surprises did he bring when you got to sort of take a little more time to examine Nancy?
Well, you know, I've always known what an incredible man Wes Craven was, but first of all, his generosity in giving me an hour-long interview in the middle of his busy schedule, which he was doing My Soul to Keep at the time. So I got to kind of see what he was doing now, and we didn't see each other frequently, but what I realized is that Wes had not only a very strong statement to make about the character of Nancy, but also that it wasn't about just her being a girl. And I think that that's the second thing that I learned, is that over time, it's not Final Girl. I mean, Nancy is not, she's special because she is a girl, but Wes just wanted a strong character, and he made her a girl, and he certainly didn't make her weak. But when he describes how she represents, like she's the only part of this particular personality that survives, the other kids are all also very part of a personality that, you know, he was making a metaphor